July just ended, man. Gen Con just passed.
Right.
It has, I'm going to tell you right now, it has affected the hotness.
It sure has.
And everything going on in Board Game Geek. So let's talk about it.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and that's right. We're going to talk about the hottest things on Board Game Geek this month. We talk about the 10 hottest games, some news, some personal Murph picks, our favorite game of the month. It's July. Gen Con just ended. We're fully in convention season right now. Things are popping off. Let's go ahead and get in the news.
As always, we have a Board Game Geek store update for you. Season 11 of the Artist Series and they're all restocks of other Artist Series prints, are about to be printed and sent off to the warehouse. They're very nearly done and going to be shipping out very soon if you back the new series or any of those restocks of older series prints. So that's coming, and in the store there's a whole bunch of stuff for Thunderworks games. There are promos for many of their games, some expansions, a graphic novel set in the world of Ulos, which is the role player kind of universe. There's a whole bunch of stuff for Thunderworks games and more, so go check that out and stay up to date on that store.
A bit of news is going to be the Essen Spiel list is up. So this is the preview list for Essen Spiel. Essen Spiel is the biggest board game convention in the whole world. It is in Essen, Germany, which is why it's called Essen Spiel Fair. And this, again, is kind of like the Gen Con preview or the Origins preview, the UK Games Expo preview. These big conventions tend to have a big preview list where publishers can post their games in there, and then the users of BGG will thumb them up, click them as want to get, things like that, and it'll populate this list. And you can organize this list in a bunch of different ways by things that are going to be available for sale, things will be available for only demo. You can organize it by thumb, seeing what's like the hottest games that people are most excited for. All different ways you can organize this list and take a look at what's going to come out at the biggest board game convention of the year. This is also the biggest, most international board game convention of the year. You have a ton of international publishers coming into Germany for this one. It's a super, super cool event. Make sure to check out that preview list as it populates as we get ready for Essen in October.
So a little bit of Board Game Geek news, but like we said, the hotness has been shifting up and shaping. There's things being announced, things being released, things being teased out. It has changed the hotness a lot. Let's head down to the chairs and let's talk about the hottest games of the month. Number 10 on the hotness. Hey man, Dune's back, baby. Dune Imperium is back.
Dune 3 is coming?
Dune 3's coming.
Zendaya is having a great year.
Zendaya is having a fantastic 4-film year. We're talking the drama. We're talking Odyssey. We're talking Spider-Man. We're talking Dune Part 3. What a year.
What a year.
Jeez. Zendaya.
Pop off, queen.
Keep doing you, please. On that note, Dune Imperium Conspiracy.
Yes.
A new expansion that works with both Dune Imperium and Dune Imperium Uprising.
Yes, which is great. Smart to do that.
Yeah, I like that they've continued to make things that support both versions. I feel like most people who are new in will just jump into Uprising, but there's a lot of people who own the original. Anyway, this is a new expansion that offers a few different options to play, and it sort of is following where we are now in the story. So it got some characters and stuff that are in Dune Part 3.
Yeah.
Because the art and stuff from this game series are based on the films,
Yes.
which are based on the books, which are based on the Saturday morning cartoon,
Yes,
I believe.
Exactly.
Which is
Of Recess.
Recess, based on Recess. So Dune Imperium Conspiracy, there's not been a ton of info, but they had kind of like little teasers out, and we're teasing out some information during Gen Con.
Yeah.
It's going to give, I think, 3 new leaders to play as, and like these conspiracy cards that have, I kind of feel like they're kind of like a souped up version of like the intrigue cards. And then like these raids you can go on. So you can basically go and raid different planets. You have like 5 spaces for planets you could raid throughout the game using the kind of sword icons on cards, which can be used in battles and things like that. So it kind of just gives you more ways to kind of build and go about using those cards during that kind of reveal turn.
Just more strategies, more things to kind of, more avenues to walk down, different kind of stuff like that. It's already a massively strategic game, so it's just adding more and more and more stuff like that. And so, people are going to be hyped.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see it on the Hotness at all. Number 9 is going to be Rebirth, fresh
Just
off
won the Kenner Spiel.
Kenner Spiel win, yeah.
Big shout out to the 3 Spiel winners.
Absolutely, yeah. So Rebirth was the Kenner Spiel winner.
It's like the strategy game of the year.
Yes, and this is by Dr. Reiner Knizia.
The good doctor.
Who's a nice up-and-coming designer. Really good.
Yeah, really excited for their future.
And this is a game where... as always with Knizia, it's one of those things where like the rule set is very simple.
Very simple game.
You're sort of drawing a card and playing a piece. But as you go and you're kind of playing in spots in Scotland and stuff, and as you go, kind of strategies are going to emerge for you because there's certain pieces where it's like you want to build a big group of connected pieces. There's like these castles that you want to have the most of kind of your strength around them. There's certain like building pieces that can sort of stack and upgrade and stuff. So it's like super simple, but then as things start to go in a very tactical way, you're going to have to pivot and sort of try to, make use of the opportunities that are presenting themselves before you as you kind of fill up this board.
Yeah, because the game is really all about positioning and, frankly, getting in each other's way. It's very interactive.
Yeah, you want to cut off people. They're trying to build some group. You want to make sure they can't do that.
Because, again, you're just putting pieces down, and so you're really, really getting each other's way, trying to, like, maximize your kind of earnings, and then just position yourself around certain things in different groups, really just trying to...
Castles and harbors and things.
But in that way that Reiner Knizia usually does, where it's like the rule set's not super complicated. It's not going to be a super hard game to learn, but it's going to be very much deeper than it maybe seems at first. This is the game where it's like the first time you play, you're like, okay, cool, this was fun. But then the more you play it, you're like, oh, now I get how to like manipulate this system more, in the way that the good doctor always seems to do.
Absolutely. Next up is going to be Wingspan Pocket.
Yes.
This is a kind of 15 to 20 minute card only. Actually, there's eggs, and I shouldn't say card only, mostly cards. Version of Wingspan. I think it's sort of advertised as a Wingspan experience.
Yes, exactly.
But now you're going to have these double-sided cards where on one side will be a bird, the other side will be resources.
The various foods and such.
The various things that you would need to pay to play those birds. And you're kind of building one row of bird cards. And it's kind of all about triggering that row, which is sort of the central thing in Wingspan that I think really caught a lot of people's attention, is the idea that I'm going to do this action, but then I get to trigger a bunch of birds in that same row. And so that's kind of central, where now I think on every turn you can activate your row of cards if you wish. There may be reasons why you may or may not do that.
Yeah, there's not different like habitats like there was, where there was like the forest, the grassland, the wetlands. Now it's just that one, and you're always going to be going through it. So it's really about building that engine in that one singular engine, and then using those cards in those different ways as either food or as birds that you want to put into play.
Yeah, so there's kind of like a market where there'll be cards you can draft that'll be on their resource side you can take, or they'll, as you take birds and stuff, they'll kind of repopulate the market and flip over to become birds.
Point salad style.
Kind of point salad style. And I think you go until you have 6 cards in a row. So it's a very quick game, but I love the idea of just something very portable. They can kind of play anywhere, but still keeps that great theme. You can still lay eggs and stuff, so it's very satisfying in that way. You know what I mean?
I really want to try this one because like I really like Wingspan, but like my favorite part of Wingspan is just building like a ridiculous bird engine, like just build something big and broken and stuff like that. And so this just seems like it's kind of distilled down to that.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think it would replace like the whole gameplay experience of Wingspan, but I do think it's like a quick little filler game that would be really, really fun to do. And so I'm really excited to try this one out.
Absolutely. Next up is going to be the Lord of the Rings, The King's Gambit.
I'm very excited.
This is another thing that at Gen Con they had, like in a case, they had some stuff, and it looked
and they kind of had like a little preview of it. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Really cool.
So this is a re-theme and a redo of Star Wars Queen's Gambit, which is this like long sought-after Grail game.
Yes, huge Grail game.
It's based on Episode 1, and there's this kind of like tiered board, and there's this like multiple battles happening at once. And so now we are doing that in the Lord of the Rings universe, where in the display that I saw, they had like this huge like Minas Tirith situation and
crazy,
Oliphants and different troops in the field, in the Pelennor fields and things out in that area. And then I don't know the other arenas. I imagine maybe it's like Moria or something. Or
well, is it all set in like Gondor?
I don't know.
Yeah. So again, it's not too much.
I wasn't able to go see the whole thing.
And I do believe they have. I think it's on the hot. At the time we're recording this, it's on the hot videos tab down. If you scroll down on BGG a little bit, there is, I believe, some kind of Gen Con preview thing that they did.
A panel, I believe.
Yeah, they kind of talk about it. So make sure to watch that for all the information. But yeah, it's really cool. Again, this is Queen's Gambit has been a massively loved, massively sought at super grail game. Like one of those games that's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on eBay. Yeah. It's very, very difficult to get. And they're bringing it back, as Restoration does. They kind of bring back games to revamp them and bring them back. And then they threw Lord of the Rings onto it. I love Star Wars, but I love Lord of the Rings even more. So I'm very, very excited. Gosh, man. Yeah, I'm super, super excited. And it makes sense, right? You could do a battle in the sky with like the Eagles and the Nazgul or something like that. You could do all these different kinds of things. And I don't know. I've always wanted to play Queen's Gambit because it's this so revered game. Yeah. Always wanted to play it. And I get to play it with Lord of the Rings attached to it, and I'm so excited. I don't even know what to do with myself. I really want to try it.
Next up is going to be Dominant Species. Again, we are in
This was another Gen Con announcement. This list is very Gen Con influenced, you could say, yes.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been announced prior that All Play is doing this, I think they call it like Masterworks or something. They're basically doing kind of these big classic games and doing new versions of them with new art and stuff.
They just did Container this year.
Yeah, and then the first one kind of in this new line is Dominant Species, which they announced. It's got Ian O'Toole art. So they revealed the cover for it, which looks awesome. It's got a saber-tooth tiger on there. It's very cool, very moody. And with Ian O'Toole art and stuff. And so that's really all we have seen.
Yeah.
It is going to be Dominant Species, the game you know and love from GMT, but with updated graphic design, because it's fair to say that the original looks a little older.
It's older, yeah.
Which is fine. And so it'll have, I think maybe some spruced up mechanisms.
Probably.
I'm not sure to how much the game will change, but
I'm sure
it'll mostly
they'll
be
button
a
it up.
visual upgrade and starting a new line that... from what I understand, will sort of be curated by Ian O'Toole in terms of helping decide which games are in there, and then being the kind of, I think, main person.
Ian O'Toole is very much a person where he doesn't illustrate a game unless he likes it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and he's mentioned that before. And so it's like, it's very cool. So if it's curated by him, you know it's going to be games that he really, and he happens to have, we've talked to him before, he happens to have very similar taste to us in terms of games. So I'm always like,
just nice.
Yes, that's great. And this is cool because like, Container is a big game, but... This is like a different kind of level, and it also has a very different look from a lot of all-play games. All-play games have a very kind of, I don't want to say cartoony, but like kind of like, even Container has that new kind of like very bright, kind of simplistic art. But then this, it looks very, very different. So I'm like, oh, this is All-Play stepping into kind of a different realm.
Yeah, it's a much bigger game than their average.
Yeah,
game,
and so I'm really excited. We recently got to play Container this month for the first time, and it was the new All-Play version. We really, really enjoyed it, and so I'm really excited to see what this is. I like Dominant Species. We got to play it at BGG Con with Jeff and Jamie
a couple years ago,
and it was the first time I played in a long time, and I liked it. And I'm really excited to try the new game because it's a game that I think I need to play a couple more times, and then I think I'm really, really gonna like it a lot. And this new version won't hurt that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Next up is going to be Night at the Zoo.
Yes.
This is from Capstone and Thomas Holek, who did SETI and Tea Garden. They've been very busy the last couple of years.
They really have been very busy, yes.
Quite a popular designer at the moment. Night at the Zoo is a game where you'll have 3 animals in the game, and you can change out which animals are in which game. And you basically have this challenge to get as many of them back into the zoo.
They snuck out at night.
They've been out in the night.
They're out partying.
They're taking in the night, you know, and why not? And so you are drafting these tiles to kind of build out your routes, almost like Karuba style. They're not like specific paths, but you kind of have to build, tiles to get from the edges of the board to the middle. And then you can also discard tiles to move animals that are on the matching land type. There's 3 land types, kind of like the sand, forest, and rock. And you if you discard the forest kind, anyone that's on forest can then move.
Yeah.
And they all have different ways that the animals move.
Yeah,
and do stuff to score as many points, as they can.
Yeah, and that's really the kind of the crux of the game is the fact that you're only using 3 of these animals. There's 6 in the base game, or 8?
I think
6.
Yeah,
and there's
a
like a little expansion which adds I think 3 more. And they all work differently. So if you play with like the penguins are sliding on their tummies, and so they'll basically go in a straight line until they can't move anymore. And so you have to build out your kind of pathway back to the zoo in specific ways because they're going to go as far as they can in a straight line. And so they'll just swing right past the zoo. The sloths move very, very slowly. They'll move and then fall asleep. And then you have to spend a whole nother movement just to wake them up. And then once they move again, they fall back asleep. But they're worth a lot of points if you can get them in there. The wolves will give you more points, more wolves to get in. There's like a cheetah, there's like a butterfly. They all work differently. And so each game is going to be kind of slightly different depending on what animals you choose. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You're drafting these tiles.
Yeah.
Sometimes these tiles will have symbols on them that, again, allow animals to move or maybe allow you to discover animals, which kind of like officially gets them onto the board so that they can start moving. Some of the spots on your board you can cover up as well. There's also tiles with these food on them. That's kind of like a set collection. It's pretty simple, but it's really, really fun. I like it a lot. It's got a great look, and it's the fact that it's like, oh, switch out the animals, and you kind of got a new game.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games where I'm like, just keep coming up with new animals. Like, every year come out with a new 3-pack of animals, and like, I'll probably get it every time because they're going to be small and pretty cheap expansions.
Yeah.
And they just increase the variability of that game and the ways you can play it.
Next up is going to be Drillers. This is from CGE. They had, I assume, a bajillion copies at Gen Con for sale.
186,000 copies.
Yeah, exactly. But this is their kind of big.
They release of the year, yeah.
They release one of these kind of mid to heavyweight Euro type games a year, typically.
Or an expansion for one of those mid to heavyweight Euros.
And this one is kind of seemingly the game for them this year. So this is a game where you are taking these kind of robot mech dudes and you're drilling down and to different levels and then kind of drilling out and discovering cards and resources and things.
Different technologies and stuff, yeah.
As you go and developing your kind of technologies. In this kind of big like shared infrastructure. So it's this kind of cool thing where as you go down and discover a new level, now everyone has access to that new space. So you will get some benefits for being the first one down there, but as you kind of develop the mine, everybody is benefiting and making use of like new types of resources that are available now and things like that. And it's sort of a deck building game where you're going to be gaining and spending cards and then getting them back. Kind of in sort of the order that you played them of way. But yeah, it's like this game where you're sort of trying to extend your time down in the mine as much as possible. Because eventually the idea is like, okay, I have all this stuff and now I need to go back to the surface and sell
make
it
deliveries,
and make deliveries and make my points and stuff. But every time you're doing that, then you sort of have to spend energy and, your fuel and stuff to move back down in the mine. So there's like little drones and things you can do to send like one resource up. So you're like trying to find all these ways to kind of like find loopholes. Like how can I stay down here doing stuff? But, I'm running low on fuel and my cards and stuff and eventually off the surface and sort of reset. So I really am excited to try that and see like, that seems like a fun challenge. Like every time you have a game like that, it's like, how can I extract as much out of this before I have to go and do this reset round and then sort of spend all this time getting back to where I was and stuff as you go deeper and deeper in this mine. So CG is for us like an automatic.
Yeah, kind of.
They
also
just
had like
make
a little
games we
expansion
enjoy.
for Lost Ruins Arnak.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of an unexpected
surprise
expansion.
shipment, which was a surprise
shipment. Presumably the last thing for Lost Ruins Arnak.
So they say.
So yeah, very excited for Drillers. Again, CG very often makes like my favorite game of the year. So we'll see how this one is, but I'm very excited for it.
Next up is going to be Greylune. This is...
Shouts out to Amy from Thinker Themer. She's the one who put me on this game because she's very excited for this one.
So excited. Yeah, this is from the designer who made Kalis.
Yes.
And this is sort of a re-implementation of another of their games. But this is another kind of like unique worker placement game where you're sort of going to have a grid of cards that is making up the city of Greylune, and you're going to be placing your pieces in between two cards.
Right.
So, there's kind of this tactical...
I always enjoy games
puzzle.
like that because then it adds not only... Because one of the reasons why I like worker placement games so much is because the decision space of what to do when and like what to prioritize is really good. But I also enjoy it when they have like a spatial element to them like that, where you're like, oh, if I put it here, I get to do these two. If I put it here, I always really enjoy it. Sorry, continue. I was just like, I always really enjoy that in games, adding kind of another layer
Absolutely.
to a great decision space. That is
Yeah,
worker
I think it's a
placement.
good way to do something differently. It's a different way to approach a worker placement style of game.
It's an easy
That's sort of
thematic
what
thing
that
to do,
is.
right? Like, oh, here's these two parts of the city. If you go here, you can access both, right? It's just from a thematic standpoint, a very easy thing to do.
Yeah, you're walking down the street between
Right,
these
yeah.
buildings, right? Yeah, but there's this whole thing of like, when you place, I think you can gain benefits if there's other players' pieces around. That also might increase the cost. There's like a timing element of like, okay, I'm going to place my meeple down here, but when do I actually remove it? Which is how I activate, the buildings around it and stuff. So like, there's this kind of timing. I think it kind of feels like almost like Zulkin a little bit, not in any way that it functions, but the idea of like, okay, I'm gonna spend turns placing things out, but I need to take turns retrieving stuff and taking actions. But like, how do I line it all up so that I can, do that as cheaply or as effectively as possible as I gain new cards, and how do I, not inadvertently benefit other players by having a meeple sit around there for turn after turn.
Right.
It definitely seems, Caelus is a really well-loved game. And so, having another kind of interesting worker placement by the same designer is obviously going to get people interested. Yeah, it seems really, really cool.
Yeah.
I like the look of it and stuff like that. We haven't ever had a chance to play Caelus,
No, haven't.
so there's something we want to fix, of course. But I'm now intrigued because so many people have spoke so highly of those games. I want to see what this designer's up to now. Next up is going to be Time Span.
Yeah.
This is a they describe as a friendly civilization
I'm always interested in
builder.
Civ games,
Yeah, Civ builders are interesting. It's just fun to have the kind of the cadence of going from the age of antiquity to modern times.
It's always interesting.
Having a type of civilization,
A leader or whatever,
leaders, world, the wonders of the world and stuff. These are things that are just interesting parts of our history. So in this one, you are starting, in the olden days, in the 1980s, probably earlier than that, I don't know. You were starting in the ancient times, and you were going to start off with a civilization and a technology. Mm-hmm. So you will have, obviously a unique civ, a unique technology. I think there's 6 of each in the game, so it'll be some combination of those things that'll give you, some unique abilities right out the gate. And then as you go through the game, you are going to be, gaining and playing cards, activating your wonders, developing your technologies, which kind of gives you more and more asymmetry around. And like a couple of ways that this game is different is there's a lot of simultaneous play. So you get this kind of big Civ experience, but it's in around 90 minutes. Instead of, some games can be quite longer, and there's no war, there's no military conflict, you're not messing with each other. Right. This is exploring.
It seems like my kind of Civ game. I tend to like games like that.
Exactly, right? It's exploring specifically like the peaceful sides of civilizations and the kind of advancements in technology. That is sort of the focus of this one. So it's about kind of building up this cool engine instead of tearing each other's engines down. But it's got this kind of cool system where you can kind of add cards, almost like Viscounts of the West Kingdom, where you're going to be adding cards below your player board, and you can have up to 4 at a time. And as you play a card, you shift everything else down, and things will eventually come off, and it goes into your heritage, kind of becomes part of your past.
Right, your history.
So I really kind of dig that idea as well of kind of helping sell you moving through time. So this is one I'm like really interested in. Like we like Civ games.
I do like Civ games a lot.
I don't mind like the military aspect.
Me
of
neither,
them,
but
it's not like why I'm there.
Yeah.
And so I like that this one kind of has a focus on like it's about innovation and it's about building your engine, making your points and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited. Next up is going to be a game that's really been just slamming the hotness. This is the most thumbed up game in the Gen Con preview.
I think it was our #1 game last month, too.
It's been Entropy. Entropy has been...
I know that Board&Dice, who brought Entropy, sold out, I think, in 2 hours for the entire con.
Yeah, they sold out. They brought, however, I don't know what the amount of copies they brought. Entropy and Maestro. They sold out of both for the entire con, their entire stock in the first 2 hours of day one.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
So... I hope they're happy with that.
I hope so.
Seems like a pretty good result.
Sorry for all the people who only came on Saturday.
I know. But this was in the Gen Con preview the hottest game, the most thumbed up game of all the games in there. So Entropy is one. You got Tommaso Battista, Simone Luciani, and Nestor Mangone. All great designers who have worked in different combinations with each other, but you've got amongst them, of course, you've got Barrage, you've got Darwin's Journey, you've got Grand Austria Hotel. Like, these designers have all been parts of very big games in the past.
An Italian powerhouse. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise there. The pedigree of the design, the designers is huge. And then you really kind of picked up on this quick. There's been this trend of like colorful alien worlds. You're discovering species and things, and
you're not like conquering these worlds.
No, it's kind of more about the creation and study of aliens, but it's been a popular theme this year.
Because board game, if you've been in board games for a while, you'll know this. But like board games, as everything does,
there's
movies
trends.
this way. There's trends. Like there's a while where like Mars games. There was like 1 billion Mars games. Then it moved into like dinosaur games. Right now there's a bunch of frog games. Like there's just, I don't know if a lot of publishers talk to each other. So I'm not sure if there's like a thing that they all, or there's sometimes groupthink happens and everyone just has the thing. The two kind of themes, and this one hits both these, that are kind of hot right now, is like some kind of like advanced civilization god simulator, like Civolution, where you're kind of like deities creating worlds and stuff like that. And then also games like Oasis, games like Orbit Star is going to be coming out. This one where it's like you're going to these alien planets, but you're just studying the species. You're not like taking them. You're not harvesting them. You're literally just there
entropy, like
them.
You're creating stars and planets and
this
developing
kind of
life
both.
on those things. But yeah, it's not in a 4X
Yeah, you're like
conquering
technically in
kinda
the game,
way.
like running a simulation, like you're, as like a test, as like a
it's
school
like your final test. Your exam
you're like,
or
I'm going to
something.
make this simulation. It's going to make these planets. On these planets, there's going to be various like microbes and like flora, and then eventually fauna, and like different kinds of stars and all this different kinds. But you're kind of creating this big simulation. It's just kind of a thing right now, and it's very interesting. I'm always fascinated. There was a bunch of dog games at one point.
Yep.
Like it's just board games goes through trends, and right now we're in this weird like deity god simulator / studying alien life forms trend right now, which I think is really cool because you have a lot of runway with that because it's an alien planet. It could be anything.
Well, there's kind of no rules about like what kinds of creatures and plants and animals you see because they're you know, they're
Entropy's really
made
fun.
up.
We got a chance to play it. It's just really like you
fun
said,
game.
talk about you're building out these things. It's got this great rondelle around the board where kind of like a lot of rondelles, the slower you move, the better your bonuses are going to be. But like you also
want to be moving quickly.
Yeah, you want to move quickly to also get back these kind of player pieces you need to put out. It's really, really great rondelle. Again, like a superstar design team, and it's really, really fun. It's got a great look. I'm not really surprised that it was the biggest, at least in terms of going into Gen Con, the most thumbed up game.
Yep.
And I'm also not really surprised
great.
that it sold immediately because it also looks really, really good. So yeah, Entropy is #1 again. If you've played it, let us know because we got to play it last week, I think, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's really, really quite fun. So let us know if you agree with that. As always, that is the #1 hottest game, second month in a row. We always like to talk about the most played games. You can track your plays on BoardGameGeek. You can use BG Stats as an app you can get that will automatically connect to your BoardGameGeek, so it's kind of tracked and stuff. You can import your plays from BGA, which highly affects this list.
Oh, yeah.
And onward. So let's talk about the 10 most played games, man.
Yes, indeed.
Number 10 is going to be Sea Salt and Paper. That's at 7,196 views. So the bottom number being a 7,000 plus really means we're in that time where a lot of people are, you know, camping, vacationing, playing games. There's a lot going on. So that is Sea Salt and Paper. Next up is Wingspan, 7,278 games. Followed by Toy Battle, always around here at 7,349 games. Just above that is Take Time at 7,540 games. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, 7,795 plays. It's a little bit down from where it was at its kind of height.
Yeah, it's still kind of crazy, especially because that one's not on BGA, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
so that's all physical plays for that one.
Yeah, as always, lots of plays of that. Castle Combo is next, 7,989 plays. Arc Nova, always around here, 9,112. Followed up by Harmonies at number 3, which is 9,558 plays.
Has that expansion shipped yet? Do you know?
I don't know.
Because I feel like that probably boosted that if they
might. I don't.
Because last month on the Hotness we talked about the expansions. I don't know off the top of my head if they were just immediately released. But either way, I'm curious if that
might have been some at Gen Con. I wonder,
if
maybe a limited amount.
That the amount of plays there.
Yeah, it's very possible. Number 2 is going to be Bomb Busters, which has always got a ton of plays. It's 11,635, but as usual, just above that, 12,983. The winner of the month for most played goes to Flip 7.
As it always does.
As it tends to do.
It always does. It's so quick. It's so easy to
It's
play.
so playable. You can play with huge groups of people. It's just really fun. There's now Flip 7 with a Vengeance.
Yeah, it's a whole different
which is like
thing.
a even crazier, meaner, wilder version.
It's just playable. But you know what makes things playable? Gigabits.
My Murph pick is going to be the Designer Diary by Anton Hallman, who's doing the new art for Quebec, which is a game from 2011. And they go into the whole process of redesigning the art and the graphic design for the game, especially through the lens of accessibility for color blindness. One of the designers of Quebec, I believe it was, mentioned that they are, I think, red-green colorblind, which is a fairly common color blindness. And so that set Anton onto a mission of not only, updating the look of Quebec and making it, just generally more updated for today's kind of sensibilities and the styles of the day, but also really focusing in on making sure that it was going to be very visible and legible for all types of players. This is something that we've seen a general trend toward in the last many years in board games that I think is a really positive thing. And that comes in the form of having icons on things in addition to their color or some sort of other identification marker. So that way, if the colors don't quite stand out, there's another way to tell. And that's something that is done here. So it's really cool to see the kind of step-by-step, updates, and then showing times where there's like filters that you can use to say like, hey, if I was looking at this board with this certain kind of color blindness, what would it look like, to make sure that it's still going to be a very playable game. I personally love the look of the updated version of Quebec. I'm really excited to play this one. I've never had a chance to play the original. The new one just looks really kind of beautiful, and I love that kind of focus on not making something just appealing and legible and readable, but making sure that it's readable for every kind of player, because we have a whole different ton of types of people that are in this hobby. And so it's really cool to bring a game kind of right into the kind of modern sensibility and style. And I personally think it looks fantastic.
My Murph pick is going to be a board game rental system at the Mangum Infant School in the UK. They run a board game essentially rental service for £1 a week. A child and their family can rent a game, bring it home, and then play it, and then bring it back. They've been doing this for 4 years, and a couple years they've been basically updating and basically saying like, what has been the most popular games for, again, infants. I believe these are 4 to 7 years old, so young children. And it's really, really cool to see this. One, I think this idea is really, really great to have a kind of library rental system at a school, an infant school, or really any school. I think it'd be really, really cool, and I really love to see that more in the United States at our public libraries, at least here in California. Public libraries have tons of board games now, and you can rent them, and they have like really big board games. Mike has rented like Pax Pamir from our board game, like our local public libraries, and so it's really cool to see these kind of rental systems pop up. And this one is really cool because it's very specific to this age group, specifically in the UK. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's a really affordable way to get games into families. Their board game library has been expanding. They have something like over 600 rentals this last year, which is so cool. I love stuff like this. I want board games to get into everyone's hand, particularly at an affordable rate, so people can get into it and get into this wonderful, wonderful hobby. So big shout out to them for doing this. At the end of the video, we always talk about our personal favorite gaming experiences of the month. I got a hunch I know what Mike's going to say because he told me beforehand. Boom.
You don't know.
You always see behind the curtain.
It's Star Trek's Captain's Chair, Nick. Star Trek Captain's Chair.
Could have told you.
I played this for the first time at BGG Con last fall.
That's right, yeah.
Had a blast playing it. The Star Trek Captain's Chair games now are based on the Imperium line of games, which are deck builders. That's a Civ-based deck builder, and now each faction is a different captain. A different captain from the start. All the different Star Trek,
the animated ones, all the live-action ones,
universes. And you're going to have a captain that's going to have different cards and ships and things, and you are going to be building and kind of getting your engine up and running, trying to gain points, control planets, attack other players and kind of mess up their stuff, buy new cards, and kind of build this awesome deck building engine. So I pre-ordered the second version. The original had another printing and an expansion back in January, so they just arrived. So I've just been like discovering
just playing it.
New captains, trying stuff. I'm so bad at the game, but I'm really enjoying that kind of exploration just because Imperium is so great. And so just having more games that are using that kind of deck building style and everything, I'm all in on it. So even as not like a diehard Trekkie, I'm all in. And now I'm becoming more into Star Trek. So
that's cool. I was reading a forum post talking about like, this game has gotten people to watch Star Trek, which is very, very cool.
It's got me intrigued for sure.
You gotta love Gandalf up in there.
Yeah.
My favorite is going to be the Loop. I really like the Loop. I really hope it comes back into print. It is super, super out of print. It's been popped back on BGA. They put on BGA. We have no information about this, but I'm like, my hope is that means it's maybe going to get a new reprint because it's really, really great. It's my favorite kind of co-op game, and that's what we always refer to as a crisis management co-op game.
Yeah.
Kind of like Pandemic, where it's just like the game starts off kind of normal, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and you're having to like manage everything. I really like crisis management games, and this is my favorite one right now. I really, really enjoy it. This is a game where there's a septagonal board, a 7-sided board, and each segment of those 7 sides is a different period in time. So the Age of Antiquity, the Industrial Revolution, the Renaissance era, all this different kind of stuff. And there's Dr. Foe, who's like a cube tower in the middle, is throwing out these rift cubes to these areas of time, throwing out clones of himself to these areas of time, just messing up time.
Yeah.
And we're all agents who all have like a little bit of special ability, a little bit of a starter deck. And you're basically moving around to these various time frames, trying to get the clones and destroy them, trying to complete these objectives and these missions and work together. And I really mean work together. One of the reasons why I like this game a lot is because it's really, truly very cooperative.
Yeah.
We're not just all on the same team. We are actively like, oh, I'm going to put this here so that you can use it on your turn. Or, oh, does anyone need to move? Okay, you'd like to move over here. Okay, I'll move you over here with this special ability. Yada, yada, yada. It's really, really fun. I like it a lot, and I really, really hope it gets a second printing because it really deserves it. That's the Loop.
Absolutely. So those are our favorite games that we personally played this month. Let us know in the comments. What have you been playing? Did you go to Gen Con? If so, what were the things that caught your eye? All that, get it in the comments below so we can check out what you have been doing. And that is what Board Game Geek has been doing. There, of course, is so much more. So go check out Board Game Geek just for any little bit of news or just anything of interest. There's so much to explore. And we'll see y'all next month.
Bye, everybody.
All right. What was the thing that you were getting wrong?